Hello everyone, this is Plankara, and today we're going to continue rigging Shalom from Paths to Nowhere. So last time I got through a couple of strands, and before I get started on any new stuff today, I just wanted to correct a couple of things that I was noticing when I was taking a look at the model this morning. Just noticed a couple of things that were just a little bit off on this strand here. The angle of the tip was a bit wrong, and some things were a little bit thick through the middle. So I just wanted to take a moment to correct that, and then make a few corrections on the third strand from hell. Because naturally, I cannot fully escape that just yet. It's okay, I kind of figured that I'd have to come back and make a few changes. I pretty much always do, even on things that aren't giving me a bunch of trouble, and considering how much trouble that one was giving me, it's only natural that I'd have to come back and fix it up a little bit. So just making a few adjustments around the strand first, since I noticed them. And as always, I think it'd be a bit of a shame not to fix things now that I've noticed them. So we're just going to take a quick detour through this strand. And then I'll head back over to that strand. Probably going to have to hide the strand in order to properly get the other one right. But I think I'm going to try to leave it on for as long as possible, because I wouldn't be surprised that part of the reason I'm able to see some of these issues is because this strand is here now. So after all, it's all relative. So keeping the pieces that are going to be around it like this on for as long as possible seems like a good idea. But as I started fixing some things around here, I just started noticing a few more things, so I'm gonna go fix all those too. Just gonna perfect this little strand before I move on. It's okay. I don't mind giving these strands a little bit of extra effort. If it'll make them look better and have them be less squirmy, that seems like a positive to me. I've been looking into more of what goes into a lot of face tracking and seeing how I can potentially apply that to future models, and potentially even this one, depending on how all that shakes out. So I'm pretty curious about all that. After all, it doesn't do much good to animate all this if I can't have it tracked properly. Since tracking is what will get the face to move around in the end. So I'll definitely be running some experiments there. There's some other stuff I want to finish up before I get too deep into that, but it will be coming soon. And once I start doing that, I might share some of my findings. This way, everyone can have a better time with all of that and won't have to flail around confused like I did. Because man, I certainly had a time figuring out how to get some of the basics down, and even then I wasn't able to quite make my model quite as expressive as I wanted it to be. Like, I think it's pretty good, but I'm hoping that the next one I make will be better. There's just so much to learn in this area. It's really cool. I think it's all very, very interesting. Like, man, if you had asked me 5 years ago if I'd be looking into a bunch of facial motion capture stuff, I would have been like, what? Why would I do that? Life is so surprising. Always keeps me guessing. Honestly, until I started learning a little bit about VTubers, I always thought that the motion capture stuff was for 3D games, basically. And since I personally have no interest in working in 3D graphics, I vastly prefer working in 2D. I just never thought it'd be relevant to me. But here I am, figuring it all out. And it's Just so fascinating. It's so cool. All the stuff that people have made and figured out. I definitely don't understand it well enough to explain it very well, but I'm working on it. Maybe soon I'll actually know enough to actually be able to talk about it properly. I'm gonna go out and try some things and see what other people have figured out. Maybe go check out the VTuber Tech subreddit again. It's been a while since I've looked there. See how much of that I can use for me. Who knows, maybe somebody has found some decent eye tracking that I can use. That will not cost me a fortune or a monthly subscription. In the meantime, I ended up doing a little bit more over here than I expected, but it's fine. It was bothering me. I wanted to make it better. I just wanted to make it a little bit better. It's like it's always so hard for me to ignore problems once I see them, so... Now that I see them, I just want to fix them all. I'm not sure if it's a good habit or a bad habit. I guess, as with many human personality traits, it's a little bit of both. Perfectionism definitely slows me down, but on the other hand, I do feel like it improves the quality of most of the things that I make. That's always nice. So it's just one of those things that kind of comes with the territory. But overall, I don't mind it. Alright. Let's see. Did I get it all? Am I satisfied now? Oh, hello there! Oh my, that's... a long name. Give me a moment to actually look at it properly here. Nibiske. Nibiski? Apologies if I got that wrong. Oh yes, thank you very much. And welcome. How are you doing today? Right now, just going through and fixing up some things that that I worked on the last few days, and just noticed that there were some things that looked a little bit off. Ah, I see. It's a nice name. I'm just, I've never been very good at pronouncing long words. I always struggle to break them down a little bit. I blame the dyslexia. Well, it's good to have you here. I hope you enjoy watching me put all this together. A lot of it is very slow going, but I always have a very good time working on it. Okay, I think this is probably enough time on this detour, even if it's not 100%. So I should probably start moving on to the next strand soon. And I just keep seeing things. And I want to fix it. Cannot help it. It just keeps happening. But I really should probably move on soon. Okay, yeah, I think that's good enough. Let's start fixing some of the problems I noticed on this long strand here. Third strand from hell. Strands that were just giving me so much trouble the past few days. Fortunately, I think most of these are going to be pretty minor tweaks. So I'm hoping they won't give me too much trouble. But I think that might be too much to hope for. Just given how much trouble they were giving me the past few days. They did not want to cooperate with me at all. So what I noticed was that it was getting a little bit thin right through here. So I just kind of needed to make it just a little bit thicker right through there. Now I'm just very slightly adjusting things so that it all lines up right and doesn't look like super crunchy. Yes, this program is called Inochi2D. It's a open source live 2D alternative. You can get the evaluation version for free, but considering the evaluation version has all the same features as the paid version, all you have to deal with is a little window that comes up for 10 seconds every time you load it up, saying to buy it if you have the money. I do recommend, if you have the money, to give some to the developer so this way she can continue to develop the software. But if you don't right now, then the evaluation copy does exactly the same thing as the paid version. So I have a link to their site in the description if you wanted to check it out. I highly recommend it. It's been a lot of fun to work with, and it's let me make some pretty cool things. Very solid program. And still receiving lots of support and development. Yeah, I think so. Just making some minor tweaks here. The strand here has been giving me trouble all week, so I'm not surprised that my tweaks are giving me a little bit of trouble too. Just really trying to pay attention to where the pixels are sliding around a bit still. So that'll probably give me some clues as to where I need to put everything. It's like a little lump right there. So does that mean you have some interest in learning how to rig? So I think it's pretty fun to do. It's very satisfying just taking a picture and then being able to make it move. It really does make it feel like that picture just comes alive. Very, very satisfying. In this case, I'm using official art from a game, but it's still quite a lot of fun. Okay, so I think most of the way there. Now I just kind of want to straighten some things out down here. Ah, nice. Yeah, if you paint something, I'd love to see it. Feel free to share it with me. And even bring it up on stream if you'd like. Or you can just message me on any of my social medias and I'll take a look. I really do like seeing what everyone makes. What kind of things do you like to draw? For me, I mostly like to draw people. I really like character design. Nice. Do you have a favorite? Or is it just, lots of different things? I pushed that way too high. Wow, how did I even manage that? Gonna slide everything all the way down here now. Lots of different things. It's a good way to be. Keeps it, fresh and interesting. Yes. Well, I would love to see anything that you make. Seeing what other people make is always a good time. It's really interesting to me to see how people put things together. I've been really interested in studying styles lately. So, yeah, no problem. I have zero problem with people just lurking. I've gotten pretty good at talking to myself as I go through all this. And even though I describe it as talking to myself like a crazy person, it's actually been pretty helpful in letting me figure out some stuff about my own process and even finding problems within my rigs and stuff. Because sometimes I can have a hard time identifying where a problem comes from, but then I really start just breaking it down and talking myself through it, and that can actually help me out a bit. So don't worry, I am very lurker friendly, and I understand. Because I mean, even besides doing something like eating or drawing or whatever, I tend to be a little bit shy myself. So sometimes I prefer just to sit back and listen. I think that's a pretty fine way to do things too. Well, let's see here. Still having a bit of trouble with this strand. Alas, it does not wish to cooperate with me again. So I'm gonna hide that layer and try to work these lumps out of here. Because, oh boy, is this hair lumpy. You really, really don't want lumpy hair. Always very unfortunate and a sign that many bad things are happening. Hair should be nice and soft and smooth, not lumpy and warped. Might have a look at how it looks in the mesh because there's something moving around there and I'm having trouble putting it all together. So let's take a look at how the mesh itself is moving. So it looks like I kind of need to tuck this down a little bit and this needs to come over here. So looking at how the mesh itself moves can sometimes give me a hint or two as to what is wrong. At least when something doesn't have to move much. Like here, her head is just moving down. So I don't think I need to add any, like, particular 3D effect or any weird distortions to make things look more 3D. I just want the bang to move downward. So in this case, everything should look fairly close to the same as it did in the front view. So I can just kind of use that to cheat and give me some hints as to how it should look. And where I'm potentially going wrong in my warp here. Just gonna try to get it as close as possible. Alright, I'm gonna take a look at the art itself now, without the mesh, and see if that solved a lot of my problems. Yeah, I think it probably solved most of them. It's doing a lot better now. I'm glad. Sometimes certain areas just need a little bit more attention. And then they do a little bit better. Alright, now I just want to fix this area around the tip. I thought it was kind of compressing in a weird way. So I'm taking a look at the mesh to kind of give me a hint as to what's wrong. It's all just little details stacking up. I think that's just the nature of animation. It's all just tiny little details that may seem insignificant on their own, but when they all come together, it makes a difference. They all matter. So I try to spend a reasonable amount of time trying to get everything to look right, look nice. Because I do think in the end, it'll make a difference. Alright, let's turn that side bang back on there. See how they all look together. Yeah, that's a bit better. Alright, now I want to take a look at this one, because that's the other one that I worked on yesterday. See how all that is. A little bit of minor movement there, but I don't actually think I need to change anything. Alright. So I think that's the left side done. Her left, not my left. So that's how people generally talk about the sides when rigging stuff. do it from the character's perspective rather than your own. Personally, I find it a little bit confusing, but I do try to stick with the convention so that people will know what I'm talking about. But now this means I can move over to the right side. Autosave helping me out, just taking a second to get things going again. So I've done a bit of work around this strand already. When I was trying to get this other side bang right, that would be the first bang from hell. That really gave me a lot of trouble. So now it's time to really finish it off and get the entire thing looking good. And right now it's looking like I gotta pull a bunch of stuff downward. Because I actually think the top here looks pretty good. It's just doesn't quite match up with the bottom. Although maybe some parts are moving too much. Let's really look into this here. Let me actually zoom out. Get the full view. Okay, so the area that I'm staring at is this little pink strand coming off here. And this area kind of around here. And I do think that these are moving correctly relative to the other bits of hair around it. Like, this strand is moving correctly relative to this bang and the highlight on this bang. So that does mean that I want everything else to be moving relative to that pink area. Which does mean that, yes indeed, these other areas just have to move down. Quite a lot, actually. They really gotta move. That's okay, I can do that. I can help them move around. Get them to where they need to go, and where they want to be. So that should make this area squirm around quite a lot less once I actually get everything in place. It'll take a little bit of time, but I can do it. Just kind of need to feel my way through and figure it all out. Nothing new. Yeah, there we go. That's already doing a bit better. I want to be really careful up here because this black line I'm also using as a landmark. And I want to make sure that landmark is in the right place. I'm actually kind of surprised at how much further down I'm having to move some of this. Because I thought that I had the bottom part looking pretty good for a while there, but apparently a lot of it still needs to go much further down in order for everything to be moving right. The usual method that I use to get all these strands right is I typically start up near the root, kind of where her hair parts, and then I start working my way down individual strands, going from top to bottom. And the reason I do it like that is to make as many landmarks for myself as possible. Because what will make everything look right has less to do with everything being like in the exact right place but rather to have everything moving roughly the same distance relative to everything else around it. So the reason, like, this bang doesn't look like it's sliding all over the place is because I lined things up so that this way, this bit of hair kind of still lines up. Not with the same part of her eye, since it's moving downward, but where it kind of looks like it's lining up with in the same area relative to the eye, based on how everything is moving. And so I mentioned that this strand was moving correctly relative to, like, this highlight here, and the rest of this strand coming down. And so that's how I know that it's right. And so that's why I start with a very clear anchor in the middle here, and then I start working my way down. So I just gotta finish getting everything down here. And it's a bit slow, precise, and time-consuming, but it looks pretty good once I get it all working correctly, so no complaints there. Like, I could definitely tell that was wrong, but I need to figure out why it's wrong. What is happening here? How can I make this all work? Where does everything need to be in order to look right? Oh, I don't actually want the mesh on right now. I just want to look at the art itself. Use that to kind of help me figure out where things need to go. And it looks like I moved that strand a little bit while I was testing some things out, so now I need to kind of get it back in place here. When dealing with this strand, I actually look at this black line kind of going between everything, and that actually gives me a better idea of where everything should be. That fix it again? We good? Not quite. This is why I was hesitant to move some stuff up here. But I did. So now I kind of have to fix it up again. But that's fine. Alright. So the top part of that is better again. Now I just kind of have to fix the bottom here. Just went a little bit too far. There we go. Better. Better. Okay, cool. Alright. So the next area I want to check is the black line going through here. And I think that's the next area that I need to line up well. I can see that it's already kind of being pushed out here. So I want to make sure he goes back in. This black line and then this light area right there. Those are the two spots I'm looking at the most at the moment. Using them to help me figure out where all these little vertices should go. Oh, Steve's coming. One moment. There we go. Just wanted to mute my microphone like that so I don't sneeze in your guys' ears. That just seems incredibly rude. Especially when I try to keep things nice and quiet and a little bit on the relaxing end. I think art should be generally relaxing. Just something nice and calm to listen to. And having someone just sneeze out of nowhere, especially with as loud as my sneezes tend to be, well, that just seems rude. So I do my best to at least stop the sound from coming out. The joy of mute buttons. Honestly, I think this top area is probably going to be the hardest part of this strand, because this is where all the colors transition and everything. So it's going to be the area that is easiest to notice where something is off, just because all the colors are so different. But I think once I get this top area, the rest should be pretty smooth sailing. But overall, I actually feel like it's going pretty well. This is not a strand from hell that's just not happy with anything I'm doing, no matter what I do. I feel like it's responding pretty well to all the movement. I'm figuring it all out. A little bit sad that I'm having to move a bunch of stuff from the lower area, though. Because I did try to do some work on that several days ago when I was working on the first Bang from Hell. But it seems like it's not entirely correct. So I'm having to go through and fix some of it up. It's worth it. I mean, I want everything to look as good as possible. But it's still perhaps a little bit sad. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling a little bit sad of having to redo some work or kill something that you worked hard on. But it shouldn't... I don't think it should stop me. If it's better, it's better. That's all there is to it. And now this area that just seemed super impossible is really coming together. Though for whatever reason, I've been having trouble figuring out where this dark area, where it goes and transitions into that light area, should go. I wouldn't say it's not cooperating. This is just me trying to decide how far things should move down, a little bit further down. So on the one hand, it kind of seems like it should go further, but on the other hand, it kind of keeps looking like it's going too far. My eyes cannot make up their mind as to which of these statements is true. I think part of that might actually just be because this strand is going a little bit too low. This is another thing of what I mean by everything is relative, in that the strands around it actually do affect what I see. So sometimes the problem may not be in the strand that I'm working on, but one of the ones next to it. Because after all, if the strand next to it is also in the wrong place, then I would still see something wrong. I just have to make sure that I am correcting it in the right place. Otherwise, I will never be able to fix it. And I've run into problems like that before, where the actual problem is on some other layer, in some other area. But I don't recognize it right away, so I just keep trying to tweak the strand that I'm working on, and nothing is working. And it makes sense, because that strand wasn't the problem to begin with. Oh, is it just autosave again? Yep, that's just autosave again. Hello, autosave. Thanks for trying to stop me from losing my work, I appreciate it. There's been enough complexity in this model now that the autosave makes the entire program like pause for just a moment. Long enough that I'm able to notice it. It's okay, the autosave is just doing its best to help me out. I like this part of her hair, though, where it kind of transitions from the red or purple to the white. The gradient is pretty. It's pretty and leaves some kind of interesting patterns in her hair that I then get to move around like this, and I rather like it. This art is complicated and pretty hard to rig, but honestly, it's been really enjoyable to work with. I've never rigged something with art quite this detailed before. So, even though it's definitely been a challenge, it's been a very fun challenge. Just means that I end up having to make lots and lots of little tweaks, and I end up making lots of mistakes. Making wrong guesses on where things should go, but it's alright. I'll get it eventually. I'm not worried. Not the slightest. So let's see here. I've been having a time figuring out where this strand should go. This is probably the closest thing to a bit that is just not cooperating with me. It kind of feels like no matter where I put it, it's just not happy. So I might have to look into some of the areas around it to find some better clues. Or maybe I should take a look at the mesh. The mesh around here is honestly kind of a mess, so it's probably related to why I'm having a bit of trouble. Let's actually take a look at it. See where my distortion is going wrong here. Okay. Try to use that as a little bit of a hint. And I'll take a look at the art itself after. Just doing some intense staring to hopefully help me figure out what's going wrong here. I don't think any of these ones matter, but with the way, since I'm looking at the mesh, it's the way they were moving was a little bit too much and it was bothering me, so I just needed to go back and fix that a little bit just so I could see a little bit better. Some corrections are just kind of like that. Only there so that I can see what I'm doing just a little bit better. Alright, I feel like I've gotten a lot of the vertices in this area moving around just a little bit less, so we'll see if that helps any. Maybe a little bit. Still kind of feel like I have a long way to go, but progress is progress. I'll take it. So let's see here. Yeah, this is fanning out too far. Looks like a little bubble in her hair. But you don't want bubbles in your hair. Not unless they're soap bubbles and you're in the shower. Just want to try to get it nice and smooth and very much following the shapes of the original. Because after all, I do want it to look like her hair, or her head rather, is turning downward as opposed to just sliding around and moving downward. I want there to be an actual turn to it. And in order to get that effect, everything kind of has to match how it looked, just with a slight twist. Let's see, still kind of feel like this light area is like compressing a little bit, like it's pulling. Let me see, how do I say it? Like it's just shrinking instead of turning. I don't want it to shrink, I want it to turn. That's closer, but not quite what I'm looking for. And it's also possible that there's still some problems in that other strand. But this time I don't actually think that's the case. I think the problem that I'm seeing is in this strand. Something's not quite in the right spot. I mean, this strand still needs some work, but it's just not what I'm working on right now. Maybe it should be. Maybe actually getting this strand right would help me more than... would give me more landmarks to help me figure out how the other one should look. Yeah, that seems reasonable. So let's do some work with this one. It has one of the simplest meshes. So hopefully it'll move around nicely for me. Sometimes I do have trouble with this one, but... it's because in this case I didn't really feel the need to preserve a lot of the details. Okay, so it's right around this dark area and the tip that I saw most of the problems with this strand. So I'm gonna go in and really take a look. You know, I've never actually tried some of these other ones. I think this one moves things more consistently. Yeah. That's what I want all the vertices to move. I definitely want to use that other brush. Glad I tried it, because that's exactly what I wanted to do this time. How long have I been learning this program? Let me see. I think I first downloaded it sometime last year. I forget exactly when, but it took me a long time to make my personal model. There weren't a lot of resources out there when I was first learning, and right now there's still not a ton. But there's more, and the community is working on the documentation. But yeah, I don't remember exactly when I first downloaded it, but it's definitely been over a year. Yeah, it's a fun little program. I've been having a good time with it. I do like seeing my illustrations move. It's like here I'm trying to make a VTuber model, but I've used it for animated illustrations before too. Just giving them a little bit of movement to make them look nice. And I like doing that as well. I'll probably do a bunch of those after I finish working on this one. Alright. Overall, I feel like I'm getting somewhere here. So I think these little highlights are going to give me a clue as to where everything lower down should go. So I kind of feel like that they were not quite in the right place. Like they were moving around a bit. Yeah. And here I made it too round. As is common, because circles are great. And I want to make everything super circular, but I shouldn't do that all the time. For this I just use a mouse. For drawing the artwork, I use my tablet, but no, this I just use my mouse. I find it easier just to use the mouse. Alright, I think that's got that highlight in the right place now. Now, I just kind of want to get all this into the right shape here. Because this line is actually pretty straight from what I could see. Yeah, it's pretty straight. Actually, even a little bit concave. That's actually a little bit surprising to me, that there's like a little bit of a dent right through there. That's probably way too strong, but I want to take a look at some other things. So I'll test it here. Alright. Yeah, I think this is getting close. I'll go back to working on the strand that I started the stream with. Well, no, I guess, strictly speaking, not, since the start of the stream was, adjustments and various other strands that I'm not touching right now, but yes, the area that I was working on before. That's what I meant. But I do think that perfecting this area will make everything else a little bit easier to see. Because then this area will be right, And I can use it as another point to let me know how things over here should look. And it won't be squirming out in the corner of my eyes. So let's see here. How's it coming? I still kind of feel like there's some shifting downward right through here. So I should slide these vertices upward to compensate for that. I'm actually surprised. The vertices here are starting to get a little bit far apart. And normally I keep a pretty consistent shape, or I guess pattern, when making the art mesh here. So I'm kind of surprised that it kind of feels like things were shifting downward there, but they do look more right now, so that must have just been the case. So now over here looks like it's sticking out a little bit, so that's why I've been pulling these vertices over to the left. This way they don't stick out quite as much. Just want to be tucked in and nice and close to the other vertices in that area. Still not quite right. Needed to do some intense staring there. But I think I see what's going on. I think. Just gonna start correcting this slowly but surely. Very methodically. Yeah, there's something here too. Just slide that on up a little bit. It's kind of the downside to detailed art of just there's lots and lots of little color changes and stuff that I have to pay attention to. It looks very pretty, but there's a lot of little details that I have to keep track of. Sometimes that can be a little bit difficult. I think it's worth it in the end, but it is indeed a little bit difficult. Just getting all these little tiny shapes right. But it's all coming together, I think. Overdid it a little bit there. But I can bring it back out. It's no problem at all. No trouble at all. I am starting to get a bit hungry, though. So I'll probably end the stream after I finish getting this strand the way I want it. And I can tell that my eyes are getting a little bit tired. I'm trying to line up all these various colors. Fortunately, right now I'm getting in kind of the territory of very, very small changes. Just very tiny adjustments. That tells me that things are probably pretty close to being good. Or maybe I'm just making a bunch of adjustments that aren't even necessary due to perfectionism. Who knows? I don't, and I'm not too bothered either way. So I want everything to look really nice. So I am not bothered by my perfectionism. It's fine. Might take me a little bit longer, but it does make the result a little bit better. So right now, kind of what I'm seeing is where these two layers kind of combine. There's like this black line and then these pink areas on either side. So I'm trying to line those up. Yeah, there we go. Doing my best to ignore this black line squirming a bit. Only a couple more things that I want to fix up. I think this is looking pretty good now. Pretty good. Everything kind of getting to where it needs to be. Everything in a good spot that makes them happy. No squirming vertices here. We'll see if the me of tomorrow agrees, but I think the me of today is pretty satisfied with how everything is looking. But it's okay. The me of tomorrow is always picky. The joy of looking at art again with fresh eyes. It's like I feel like when I'm staring at the same art for too long that everything just starts looking right and I lose my ability to find mistakes and things that I want to fix up. So before I release a new illustration into the wild, I always sleep on it. Don't look at it for like 12 or more hours at minimum. Go to bed, look at it in the morning. 99% of the time I always find something I want to change. Just how it is. My eyes just get that little bit of rest that they need. My brain stops getting too excited about finishing something new. And it actually takes its time and looks at things a little bit more logically and analytically. And it results in a slightly better painting. That's why I always look for things I want to fix up first thing before stream. That's typically what I'm doing when my start screen is on. Just taking a look at things, seeing what I want to work on today. Seeing if there's any touch-ups I want to do before I get into the bulk of the work I'm going to get done for that day. I say day, but it's more like just an hour. Since I stream daily, I like to keep my streams fairly short. Just imagine doing a 4-hour stream every day. That would be rough. Alright, I'm actually going to hide this for a second. We're going to get some funny bald spots while I take a look and make sure that the mistakes that I'm seeing are coming from the strand below. Most of them indeed were. Just want to fix up the couple of spots that were not. But yes, sometimes when there's lots of squirming from the other layers, it can be hard to tell where the problem is, and in those cases, I just hide the layer. Get rid of all the distractions. Focus in on the one area that I'm looking at. Sometimes you just gotta focus. And now I'm getting into territory that is probably just pure perfectionism, but I don't care. I'm a fix-it. I'm not even sure if I'd notice that issue if I zoomed out all the way. But I was noticing it there, so whatever. I can fix it. I can do what I want. It's my art. I can do what I want. I make the rules in this universe. The universe I'm creating via whatever it is I'm making. Alright, now I actually am going to zoom out, because the things that I'm saying are just very, very tiny. So I want to make sure that I am not overreacting here. And indeed, I think everything is actually looking fine there, so let's go turn the other hair back on, and I think I will fix up all the other issues next time. Because now I think I have this strand pretty good. So now I know that any problems that I have is indeed going to be on this big clump here. So I think this is where I will end for today. So thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, or any other creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message or at me on Twitter or Instagram or any social media of your choice. And I'll take a look and maybe leave some comments. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.